Okay. So hi everybody, welcome! Today on the podcast we're going to be talking about one of our favorite shows, The Bear. Everybody introduce yourselves.
I'm Daniela.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Matthew.
And I'm Tina.
And I'm your host, Teresa. Alright guys, let's get started. So who's your favorite character on The Bear and why?
I would say Richie. I feel like he's really misunderstood throughout the entire show. People just think he's like, he doesn't really put a lot of thought into things, but like deeply, he really does care about the beef and things like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Richie's kind of my favorite too. When I watch this movie, at first, I feel like it's kind of annoying, right? But after that, I can like clearly understand his personality, and I like him more.
I'll be honest, I really like Sydney. Like, she just came into it with like out of nowhere, and then she comes in and she's like trying to be inspiration to the team in the kitchen. She's giving all these ideas for like the to-go orders and trying to make her own foods, and it just really stood out to me. I was like, she was like a go-getter, you know?
Yeah, I agree with Sydney too. She's very well put together and she's very organized, and she has so much inspiration from Carmi and everything, and she tries her best.
Yeah. At first, my favorite was probably Carmi, because, he was the main character. But after that Forks episode, I might have switched points on that. So, speaking of Carmi and Richie, what are our first impressions on the two characters? What do you think about them after the first few episodes?
When Carmi and Richie are first introduced, like, you can tell they're both clearly struggling from all this death with Mikey, and they're both still grieving, and Carmi's just there. Like, the first episode, there's already so much chaos going on, and like nobody else is there but him, and he's trying to like start up the restaurant, and nobody's like putting together everything like he needs it. And
I think my first impression of Carmi and Richie is kind of like Richie's just trying to run the restaurant the same way Mikey did, and then Carmi comes in and is like, no, we're not going to do this. Like, this needs to be a functional restaurant. We need to make money. We're not making any money doing the things that we're doing.
I feel like Richie was kind of like stuck in the past. Like, Carmi came in and was trying to like make it flourish and make the business boom and introducing all these fancy like techniques and stuff. And Richie was like, I've done this my entire life one way. He was just hell bent on staying that way.
Yeah.
He was just really hard headed and stubborn and wouldn't open up to the bigger picture.
Yeah, at first I think they really hate each other because the way they want to, they want to be leader of the beef after Mikey died, right? So because Carmi is a really best chef, so the way he wants to make this restaurant like perfect, but Richie's he kind of do like opposite thing. So yeah, their first impression is kind of really opposite to me.
I feel like in like those first few episodes, it really shows, like as y'all were saying, that one is more pointed towards the future and one is all stuck in the past, and they need to find that middle point, but they just hadn't found it yet. I know in season 1, episode 1, System, we see Fax say this about Richie. He's not a nice guy. It's just he's sad inside. What are the heartbreaks Richie's dealing with in the Bear, and how is he responding to those?
well, most obviously we can tell he's dealing with the death of his best friend, and we also learned that he just had a recent divorce with his wife, and he's still trying to mend this relationship, but it's already been broken, and she's already going on to another process of getting remarried. But even after knowing this, he's still constantly pushing to fix this with her, and she doesn't want nothing to do with it anymore. But with the death of his best friend, Mikey, he's still blaming himself because he knows what he was struggling with drugs and mentally, and he was in such a dark place, and he didn't really do anything to step in and try to help him get out of that.
I feel like personally, Fac really only says that he's not a nice guy. Because, like, watching the show, like the episodes we watch, you see Fac and Richie's relationship. Richie's, like, really mean to Fac all the time, calling him names. Whereas, like, everyone else, Richie kind of knows, like, that boundary that everybody else put up besides Fac. So I feel like Fac just said that to kind of make the audience, see Richie as not a good person.
Yeah, it's kind of like how, like, when you're with your best friend, you know, like, how far you can go with a joke and stuff, like, you know their limits and, like, how to push their buttons, but with Fact, it kind of just, like, was doing what he did to everybody, and the dude was getting like real upset about it. And they didn't have the connection to know like what was too much and when to stop. And they just butted heads a little too much, and because of that, it caused them to, have a really bad relationship.
Yeah, because I think Richie's, he kind of tried to do so many things at the same time, but he cannot do with that. Like the way his best friend Mikey died, he didn't do anything to make Mikey like go back with him, and also his wife too. Or the relationship like around him is turned to really, really bad. So maybe that's make him the most broken. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like after Mikey died, Richie he took over the beef until Carmi got there like 4 months later, and you can only imagine how Richie felt. He had been running this with Mikey all of his life, and also Carmi's here. Carmi hasn't run this restaurant in like forever. In the first season episodes, System, Han, Braccioli, and Saris. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. I don't have the best pronunciation. They give us plenty of evidence for like each person's leadership style. What type of style do you think that Richie and Carmi have? And like, personally, who do you think leads it better?
So the difference between Richie and Carmi's leadership styles that we all can see is Richie's a very laid back person. He's kind of like, do what you want, don't do it, really don't care, show up, don't show up, it's up to you, I'm still gonna be here doing my own thing. Whereas Carmi's like, everyone has their position, you need to stay in your position, listen to what I say, that's it, end of story. And as we all see, Carmi obviously has the best leadership style, because you see throughout the seasons how everyone kind of like becomes like happier with them being there at the beef. They realize their positions, and then it's like they're engaging with everything that Carmi's saying. They want to know more about Carmi's life before he came to the beef, and so like you could see that even though they really weren't all chefs, with Carmi coming in, they're kind of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna become the best at what I do, specifically here, so that I can prove to Carmi that, I'm one of the best.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, because like, if you watching the show and kind of seeing like Richie run things, it almost seems like he's like a dictator. He's like just stuck on one thing, like it has to be his way or the highway. And then Carmi comes in and kind of has like a little visionary approach. Like he handles the business with strategy, and he has a vision, and he implements it on the other guys. Like we see where the one guy with the desserts, he went from just half caring at all to trying to perfect his craft. Everybody started to try to step up and take the game to the next level because they saw what he had in store for them. So
Yeah, I kind of feel the opposite at some point, because I feel like Carmi, like he wants it a specific way, and when he first gets there, everybody around him kind of sees like that he wants it his way, or it's like not gonna work. So, and he's not close to them either. So Richie, like, although his leadership style isn't the best, and I agree with Carmi's being better, like, since Richie has that closeness with everybody that's already there, I feel like they're already on the same page with him.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, because once they open up their own restaurant after the beef, you can kind of really see the like Carmi's relationships with everyone really got strained, because he was either do it my way or just leave. I don't really care if you're here at the restaurant or not.
Kind of want to build a restaurant kind of like a big company in process, But Richie's, he kind of like, oh, everybody is my family, just do what you want. But I mean, Carmi, he's still very respect to other people, the way he got everybody like chef, even though they're not a chef. But yeah, but he wants everybody to do by his way. Like, okay, you have to do this role, you do this role, and mine is this. Kind of like that. It's like some people stay there longer than him, don't like the way he, like, you know what I mean?
No, oh wait, are you still talking?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. No, yeah, I know.
Oh. No, I was going to say I agree with that point like very strongly, because I feel like the way Carmi came in was like you all said, he was very professional about it. It was like, this is a business, we're going to run it like a business. But whereas we saw Richie and the other workers like before the day would start, they were all just laughing together while Carmi was like trying to be like, hey guys, can we like talk about what we're going to do today? no, or like, well, whatever, cousin, we don't care. Speaking of, like, again with Carmi though, when he's talking to his sister, he says, I guess all the time I feel like I'm kind of trapped because I can't describe how I'm feeling. What heartbreak does Carmi carry with them? Like, which ones are, like, known to, like, the other people who work there and other people in the show? And which ones does he, like, not actually fully understand?
I feel like the heartbreaks that Carmi carries with him that we all know of is definitely Mikey. And just the beef in general. You see like his ups while being at the beef, but you also really see his lows, and like it really hits him hard when just being there at the beef. And then also like with Mikey, it's kind of like he always wanted to run a restaurant with his brother, but also didn't at the same time because he got to experience working for some of the best restaurants in the country. And it was just kind of like he was there but wasn't there. And I feel like a heartbreak that a lot of people kind of like skipped over was their mom. Because like we saw like that family dinner, she was fine 1 minute and then like a flip switched and she was like someone completely different. So I feel like Carmi thinks about his mom often but doesn't know how to talk to people about it because he feels like they might look at him differently because his mom is different.
Yeah, I also feel like some type of heartbreak that he's also dealing with is like with Mikey, he was also like seeking that validation from Mikey, and Mikey just kind of pushed him away. And since he's dead now, he no longer can like repair that relationship in any way. And even when he was at the culinary school and working with all the professionals and everything, like he was also still trying to seek that validation. And I don't remember the character's name, but the one like lead chef, he kept like pushing Carmi's like thoughts aside, and every time he would make a dish, he'd be like remake it and all that. And
Yeah, I feel like Carmi has just a lot of PTSD in his life. But you can see that from like his mom and his family and the whole backstory. But also like when he's like in school learning how to be a chef, you can see how like he goes through a lot of trials and a lot of different tasks, and he's failing at a lot, and like he's just getting dug through the dirt. And you can kind of see that as his like character progresses throughout the show. He has a lot of deep trauma, and he just does not know how to talk about it.
Yeah, so I think one of the reasons make Carmi like a very heartbroken person is I think he's kind of introvert. He don't want to talk to anybody about his sadness. Like he very stressful about the beef. He wants to make the restaurant better, but because the way Mikey and Richie like building before is kind of weird, so the restaurant is not that good. So you have to spend a lot of time and everything to try to build it up. And this is one of the most stressful to him, but he kind of don't share with anybody.
yeah, he's very closed off. And I think one way he kind of tries to deal with this is like putting all this time and effort into the beef, and like eventually it becoming the bear. And also he does go to meetings and stuff, and he does try to discuss his feelings, and he knows why he's trying so hard with the bear, which is why he's trying to fix that relationship with Mikey, but he can't like physically do it. And I was gonna go somewhere else with that, but I forgot.
No, it's all good. I was gonna say something too, but I forgot. I feel like Carmi and Richie are like essential characters